All right, so we're going to start talking about conditional statements. And a conditional statement is basically going to alter the flow of our program by evaluating Boolean expressions. So a Boolean is, in Python, a true or a false with a capital true. So if I print true, I get that. If I print false, I get that. And then I can ask questions basically to see what these are. So I have different things that I can do to evaluate expressions. So I could start with if true, colon, print first, and then I will get first. I can also embed things in there like an else statement. So else print second. So if true, print first, else print second, and from there I get first. Now what's not very interesting about this program is it's always going to print first. If we think about why, right, this expression here where we have a true statement is always true. And the way that we can link these together is we have an if statement. If this is true, it does what's inside of there. If that's not true, it would go to the else statement and would print second. But the way that we have it set up, it's never going to be able to get to the else because we've hard-coded in a Boolean value. So what we'll more often do is we will have a variable. So if I have a variable, let's just say value equals 0, and I want to know an expression if value is greater than -1, print first. So you can see that it will still print first. However, now if I change it to a -2, what we're going to get is we're going to get second. So what happened here is this expression evaluated to false. So it didn't enter the if statement and went down to the else statement and printed second. And we can see that by looking at our print statement. So I can print value greater than -1, and you'll see that that's false, right? So we can add values here. We can have an if and else. We can also add what's called an elif, which is an else if. So elif, and I could say value equals -5. Print, I'll say this is third. That doesn't make sense in terms of order. So what I'll see here is I have two conditionals now. I have greater than -1, equal to 5, and then everything else. And so when I run this, I'm still going to get, let me take this value off here, I'm still going to get second. So it's going to go all the way down to this conditional. But if I change this to be -5, what I should see is this is false, the first one on line 5. The elif on line 8 is now true, and so it should print third, and it does. So again, what we're looking at is I have expressions. In this case, that's false. This is true, which means it executes that piece, and it doesn't go there. It doesn't add that value. So what we can see is the order of these is going to be important. And so when we have things linked together like this is a block of code. Only one condition can be true or can execute. All right. And if we look at that, so I can change the order. And let's say that we change this here and I have, all right. Let's ask the question if it's greater than 0. So if I have a positive number, and then let's ask the question if it's equal to 5. And so now I'm going to adjust this, and let me just make this the right order. So we'll say second, and then we'll say third. So what we have is value is equal to 5. That's greater than 0, but it's also equal to 5. So maybe we'll get first and maybe we'll get second. When we run this, all we get is first. Because these are linked together, as soon as one of these is executed, the others don't. If we wanted to change it, we can make this also a standalone if statement. So a standalone if statement means that now these are blocked together. It will ask this question and it will also ask this question. So now we'll have two print statements that show up. All right. Alternatively, we can embed these conditionals. So if I wanted both of those to come up, let's say I'm interested in my positive values. All right, so if it's positive, if it's 5, when I run this, it's going to print first and second. So what it does is this executes, so it goes in and prints first. Then this is asked and it goes in and prints second. Now, the thing that we need to keep track of is once it goes in an indentation, it's not going to back out and come back to here. So if I put another thing in here, if value equal 5 here, and then the print fourth, what I'll see is even though this is true, it never gets to this question because it will be in this value here. So now when I run it, I still get the same output. Okay, so be careful. Once you embed a condition, it doesn't go back and ask the other ones. And if you link them together, you'll see kind of how those pieces work together. But it can work its way in. It can't back out and work to other levels of indentation. The other thing that we have are what are called our logical operators, which means that I can take some values and string them together with not, and or. So I could print not value equal 5. What I'm going to see is I get a test for equality that's true, and then I negate that with not and print out false. All right, I can link those together with an and operator. So if I have an and operator, what that means is that both the things have to be true. Let's say value is greater than 0. All right, so what's going to happen when I run this is I print out false. What it's doing is it's evaluating for us here this expression first. It's getting a truth value here, and then it's going to get a truth value here. So I'm going to get a truth value of true. I'm going to get a truth value of true. And then my order for these is it does the not first, the and second, and then we'll see or in a minute. So it's going to say not true, which is false. The and comes down. False and true should equate to false as an output, which is what we got over here. All right, if I was to adjust it and take the negation off, what I would hope to see is that I get true to show up, and there it is. All right, so we have an order of operations just like we have PEMDAS and math for our operators. Now, if I looked at an OR statement, right, either one of these can be true for this to work. So if I look at it now, it's true. If I change this one to not equal to 5, that is false, but it's still greater than 0, so I still get a true output. If I was to make this less than 0, now what I'm going to see is I actually get false. That value is false, that expression is false, and we link them there. So what we can do is start to have values that I have my order of operations, which is a not, and then I have an and. Let's just make it like this, true. So I can put a direct Boolean value if I want. So as we see this, it's going to work inside our parentheses first. So it's going to ask that for a truth value. It's going to ask that for a truth, take the or statement, not, and then our and. So if we were to try that, what we would see, right, is that we'd have those values coming through. So this one, is it true or false that this is not equal to 5? That's false. Is it less than 0? That's false. False or false is true. False or false is false. Not false is true. True and true hopefully gives us true as an output, and it does. All right. So as you are working through your conditionals, be careful as to how you link them together. You can also take an expression like this. So if value equal 5, and if it's embedded like this, if value is greater than 0, print first. Right? When these are linked together like this, really what you have is an and operation. So what I can do is this would be equivalent to saying if value equal 5 and value is greater than 0. That print first. That will equate to the same thing. That's basically what you're doing when you're embedding your pieces. All right, good luck.